This is the theater of psychodrama. The director is Dr. J.L. Moreno, who is now coming onto the stage.
How do you do? It's a great pleasure to meet you here today. The best way of introducing you into the meaning of psychodrama is if one of you would step up upon the stage and talk with me about it. What about you?
Yes, Doctor, I have some questions.
Yes. Why don't you come up? Nice to meet you.
How do you do?
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Fine.
Well, anything you have on your mind?
Yes. Well, I always thought of the theater as a place of entertainment. I can't quite get the idea of the
Yes.
theater as therapy.
Well, of course it is important that you all understand that there is a fundamental difference between the theater as a therapeutic functioning unit and the theater which we all understand as dedicated to joy and to pleasure.
Well, then, what is the actual function of the stage itself, Doctor?
Well, Henry, this stage permits you to live out many things which you might have done in the past, which you might do it now in the present, or which you might do in the future. For instance, what is your plan for the future?
Well, I'd like to teach at the university someday.
You do? Well, why don't you try to take the role of such one who might one day become a professor of a university?
It's a long way off.
Well, you might be, but still, try.
Well,
Assume the role. Now imagine that you're facing a large body of students. And
well, I portray it as far as drawing upon the information I have now from the professors I've known, and perhaps would crystallize it into this sort of thing.
Assume the role. Go ahead.
We want to meet the basic needs of children and of people. And these basic needs are manifold.
All right, very good. Well, may I say that, Henry, we are becoming better acquainted, and as I like to tell all the students, your friends here, something about the stage, I try to summarize now for you the total function of. We have 5 functions. I mentioned first the stage, right? Levels, balcony. Second is the subject, yourself, as you saw yourself just before performing. Third, it is the director. The director has a vital function in the psychodramatic theater. He prompts, he stimulates the subject to production, he stimulates his spontaneity. He doesn't do anything for him. He does it all himself. Third and fourth are the professional auxiliary egos, these individuals who are portraying for the subject such roles which he cannot do himself. His father, his mother, delusions he may have if he's a mental patient. Right? And finally, the last and most important instrument in a psychodramatic theater is you, the audience. You, the audience, is a thing which may have a double function in a psychodramatic theater. The one might be to provide the subject with a world which is absolutely real. Right? Especially if he's an mental patient who has lost his world. And the second function is to become a patient himself, to be treated in groups. Right? There may be groups of normal individuals. There may be students, there may be mental patients who are forming groups and are in need of some degree of treatment. You understand that? That is the story. You, the audience, you are the one to whom we are giving this instrument to be used everywhere, whatever problems are to be treated in life. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, Doctor.
I thank you. When I begin to work with a subject, I have nothing to work with, and therefore the production is one which I structure gradually. The most important aspect in such a psychodramatic presentation are production techniques. Now, for instance, if I may invite you up, Sue, why don't you come up for a moment? I'd like to demonstrate with you how such production techniques are used. Now, in general, Sue, there are 3 types of production techniques which I'd like to demonstrate in this lesson. The one is the technique of representation. The second is the technique of reversal. The third is a double technique. Let's start with the first one, the technique of representation. For instance, you, Sue, to give you an illustration, you are from?
Paris.
Paris. I would like, for instance, to meet your mother, right? Your mother isn't here.
No,
right?
she isn't.
No, and she couldn't come. We have, therefore, to portray her by means of someone who is particularly trained to take such roles. Now, these people are called auxiliary egos, as you know, and we have here a number. Now, I would like, for instance, Zerka to come up and to portray the role of your mother. Now, in such a case, she will be, here is Zerka, and we will, you being the resource person, you will inform her what kind of a person she is and what kind of a relationship probably at the present time, which you would like to, which might require portrayal on stage, right? And then, of course, we will proceed from then on. She'll be your mother, and you will be yourself.
The only thing is, Doctor, there isn't too much of a conflict situation with my mother.
Oh, that is not. Well, we can imagine, you all can imagine that, how such a technical presentation can be done. So let's move now, thank you so much, Zerka, and we'll move now to a second technique, which I discussed before. It is a technique of reversal. Mm-hmm. Now, which one do you have it from?
My mother-in-law.
Your mother-in-law? Oh, I see. Well, I'll tell you something. I'll invite another auxiliary ego up. It is Jana. Now, Jana, if you'll come up here, and you see, in the role, in the reversal technique, you will take the part of that person with whom you have conflict. That is your mother-in-law. And she'll take your part. Right? And now you structure with her a situation we would like to see with your mother-in-law, and she taking as well. She plays the part of she. Right, go ahead.
Well, usually she comes over at night when I'm washing my hair or something, rings the bell, and I have to go downstairs.
Go ahead and see. Let's see what happens.
Well, what would you do? Well, you'd be coming down the stairs, and I'd be standing there waiting, usually tearful. And then you'd say, "Hello, Mrs. Russell." Mrs. Russell. And I'm through. Hello, Mrs. Russell. Oh, Sue, I don't know what to do. I've been having a terrible day. Is Norman home? Oh, yes, he's upstairs. You come on up. Well, you know I can't walk all those flights up. Would you tell him to come down? I just have to talk to him. The most terrible things have happened to me, and I just don't know what to do. And the doctor said I have to be operated on, and that woman was so mean to me again. And you know how she acts. She just goes, she kicked me, and she threatened to throw me out the
Now, please, now you reverse roles, and now you are Sue, and she is now Mrs. Russell.
Oh, I just don't know what to do, Sue. I want to see Russ. Won't you tell Russ to come down? Now, you know that, and I'll have him come over and see you. Oh, but he isn't in class.
That's all right. Now, that is about an illustration of how reversal technique runs. Thank you, Jana. You understand, Sue, and you understand all that is about how it operates. Now, it has a very great therapeutic value because the one person can move from herself into the other person's situation and learn in action of what is going on in her own mind. And so she lives in two persons simultaneously. And so let's go now to the third technique. It is, and you all, please look carefully at you. We will go now into the double technique. Now, everyone, as it is visualized in his thought, see, we all have a person who is a double of ourselves. That is at least how it is visualized by the mystics and by folklore of all peoples on earth. And now, let us imagine that you'll come home, right, at one evening, and you'll find yourself. Zerka, will you please take the part of the double? And you'll find that there are two Sues in your living room, let us say. And now, if you, of course, as regular doubles, you will move the same way, you will talk the same way, you will feel the same way, and you will complement yourself. She will give you a great deal of strength by having one like you in social space. Go ahead and try to work it out there.
Very nice to Russ's mother. Well, I try to be nice. Well, I know, but I don't seem to succeed very well. She gets so upset and she unnerves me. She makes me feel so, I don't know, so fidgety. Well, I used to be able to get along with her all right, but I guess as I got a little more neurotic myself, I found that she was
now, there you are,
bothering me.
Let us imagine now that you will continue to show the double technique in all phases of your mutual existence. And now, I would like to explain to all of you what this double technique means psychodramatically and therapeutically. You see, the best illustration is, if you recall, the great French novelist Guy de Maupassant, one day, when he came home, he saw himself sitting at his desk writing a manuscript. That was the beginning of his psychosis. That was an uncontrolled double, one who hallucinated himself from his own mind and was there in space. That we are projecting the double voluntarily upon the stage, giving you a double so that you may learn and maintain control of your own mind. The controlled situation which the double portrays from the depths of your psyche is what we are giving to all these people who are suffering from psychotic experiences. You understand?
Yes.
Well, Anne and Frank, why don't you step up for a moment upon the stage here? You know the meaning of the psychodrama stage, both of you, don't you?
Yes, I do now.
It is dedicated to one purpose, that you, the people, should live out of this stage what they have lived through and what they want to do with each other. Many things have happened to you which you have never revealed to each other. Try to be yourself here on this stage now. I leave it to you.
Well, Anne, there's something I've wanted to tell you for a long time. It concerns somebody else and my feelings about her.
About her?
Yes, I'm in love with somebody else.
What did you say?
I'm in love with somebody else.
I don't understand.
Well, it's something that's been happening over a period of time. It's a colleague of mine that's been meeting, and we've developed a relationship that has...
How long has it been going on?
For the last few months.
You didn't tell me anything about it?
I couldn't. I didn't want to talk to you about it until I felt it was real, until I knew
No, Frank.
how I felt about it.
I don't understand. How could you do that?
Well, it wasn't something I tried to do. It was just something that happened. I had no control of the situation.
You never go out with other women. How could you possibly have done it?
Well, she works at the university, and we see each other often. Well, it's just one of those things. It's all. It just happened.
You've been taking her out?
We've gone out a few times, yes.
When?
Well, during the day, during the school.
You mean you lied to me?
No, I didn't lie to you. I never denied anything. I never said I was going out or wasn't going out. It was just something that we were very good friends, and before you know it...
said that you told me where you were going and what you were going to do.
I know. Well, I did.
How could you go out with somebody else and then come home to me and not tell me anything about it?
I wasn't sure how I felt about it. It was something that has just developed to a point now where I begin to feel maybe it's something very real. I don't know.
You mean you don't know? My gosh.
Well, I didn't want to do anything or say anything that might upset you before I felt there was something to it. And now I feel it.
I don't understand, Doctor.
Why don't you ask him who it is?
Yes, who is it? That's an idea.
It's, I told you, a colleague of mine.
Who?
Oh, you don't know. It's somebody you don't know.
Ask him again.
Are you sure I don't know her?
It's Ellen.
You mean that girl that we met the other day?
Yeah.
What kind of a position are you putting me in?
I'm not trying to put you in any position.
Oh, Frank, I don't understand.
I didn't want to hurt you. I love you very much. It's just that something has happened, and I didn't even know myself it was happening, and...
I know, but we've always been everything to each other, and we planned on life, and I've made my plans.
I know, Anne, but...
You just can't go off like that and just say I'm in love with another woman.
Well, that's what I'm not sure of. I just think it's something that's happened, and... Well, I've got to make sure, and I'm going to see it tomorrow to make sure of it.
You mean you're going to see her again?
I've got to. I've got to be sure that it's the real thing or it isn't. And I've got to see her again tomorrow. And that's...
Oh, please.
I understand both of you. I'm so glad, Frank, that we acted out together.
I wish I'd never found out.
Perhaps you retreat now and sit down in your chair. I thank you all